bigger? How do I make this bigger?
Good morning, everybody. How are you doing? It is Lilia and Lorna here, and we're here to talk about Tarbert's Wild Medicine Festival and what Lorna's going to be bringing to you. Lorna, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm just thinking, you know how we have these sweatshirts high on sky, but when we left Tarbert last year, we were saying we need to get sweatshirts saying tripping at Tarbert.
Yeah, and I mean after the festival at Stonehaven, yeah, it was just wonderful, wasn't it?
I know. I think I'm still just lying back down after that one.
Yeah, great stuff. So wait a minute, I'm just trying to get all this right. Awesome. So the gene keys. For those of you who have not met Lorna, can you just give us an overview of what the gene keys is, please?
An overview? Well, the gene keys are, I just like to call them a box of treasures that are within each and every one of us. And because even Richard Rad, who's the founder of the Gene Keys, sometimes finds it hard to express what they are. So I actually thought I'm just going to read you this little bit here. That this is the book of the Gene Keys. This is one of the updated versions. The original one was out in 2009. And so to all who are reading or hearing these words, may your heart burst open in unconditional love. May your mind be illuminated by infinite peace, and may your body be flooded by the light of your essence. May all whom you touch in this life, through your thoughts, your words, and your deeds, be transformed by the radiance of your presence. So taking this journey with the Gene Keys, embracing your higher purpose. We're all here for a purpose, right? So my journey was basically the 12-step program, and I've written a book about that. So I'll just tell you a little bit about that. And those 12 steps took me to the 12 pathways of the Gene Keys over a period of years. But in between that, I did a lot of shamanic training. And I'm combining these Gene Keys because the Gene Keys are frequency bands. Basically, they're 64 codes that live within us each. So, anybody can go online, go on to genekeys.com, and they can upload their own profile, and they can follow this map and this compass for themselves, and they can discover these 3 frequency bands with a lot of numbers, a lot of words. And it could be quite overwhelming in the beginning for people when they, what is all this stuff? So I became a guide so that I can help people with their process if they need me for one-to-ones. I run a little group as well, which I talk about at the festival. And anybody can come up and ask me anything about the Gene Keys. But you can go online yourself, discover it yourself. There's a free 3-day introduction offer for you to take that little journey yourself and see if it resonates with you. We talk a lot about resonating and the 528. Well, this is it in a book and book offerings, and but it's all about our own shadows as well that live within us. There's a frequency of shadow, there's a frequency of gift, and then there's a frequency of Siddhi, which is a divine gift. So the membership that I have is called the Magical God Temple, and God is an acronym for Gifts of Divinity. So, people that want to come on board with that, there is a monthly fee for that. And people come and they go. There's no pressure to stay. And so we travel together because we know we heal better together, right? So, and we know from all the breath work and everything. So each festival, you've very kindly invited me to, I get to refine these sessions because we only get an hour, right? There's so much to
well, exactly. I mean, it's the festival's like a buffet, isn't it? You can get a little taste of each thing rather than going too deeply into it. But what you do have to do is come up to the hub here and do an actual day or a couple of days so that people can get full experience of what it is. So what I'm hearing is you can kind of go online and for free and check it out.
There's loads of
Or
festival out
you
there.
can do a one-to-one with you, or you can join the group. And if you got a membership, is that the other
I have a
thing?
membership. Yeah, I've got a membership. Yeah. So what for me, there's these 3 sequences on your map that anybody can see. And what I do at the festivals is I make a map for the festival. So so what I'm offering is like a shamanic journey with some breathing into this map. And we focus on one particular key. And then so I believe that everybody that arrives there is doing their own personal healing, but we're also doing a collective healing through the shamanic soul retrieval, if you like, that I offer with this. Or I called it breath dance, and people were coming thinking they were going to be dancing. And it's like, no, it's an inner breathing dance that we're doing. But it's like maybe I need to so I've renamed it Gene Key's Shamanic Journey. That's simple. That sounds simpler, I think.
Yeah, well, I suppose people are kind of familiar a shamanic journey as you lie down and it is an inner. I mean, but it's like inner dance isn't a dance. Laughter yoga isn't yoga.
Yes.
Exactly. It's difficult, isn't it, trying to get a name that kind of sums it all up, what you do.
I know, because there's so much. If you go online, there's so much information, but I want people to have an experience rather than me throwing out loads of information to them about what the gene keys are, because online it's just a synthesis of so many things that you can go and buffet on there as well if you want. There's so many things that you can taste.
There's so many ways you can take it, isn't it? And I suppose kind of in this moment, it's very much what do you need right now? What do you need today? And I was just thinking this morning, I think there's never been a more important time to come to a festival and get away from the madness and meet people that have solutions for you and, that can really help you manage your emotional state, because the energy's been crazy. There's so many things happening and so much grief around as well. And it's like, really to stay sane, I think the festivals have got to be part of that recipe, haven't they?
Well, it is, and because we can collaborate and we can talk with other people, and then we can resonate with other people and stay in touch as well, right? And can I read this little bit out from the book as well?
Please do.
Yes. Beginning in the year 2027. So this is us on the trajectory for 2027. Our planet will begin a gradual process of falling silent into a state of awe. Between 2012 and 2027, a core awakening fractal of humanity will lay the foundations of a new world that will, over many generations, reshape this planet from the inside out. Old systems will crumble as the new order arises unscathed within their midst. This time will mark the phase of recreating Eden, which never left this planet but remained as an energetic blueprint. I think that's just wonderful. I think the work you're doing, and you've got the 55th gene key in your profile, Lilia. So it's all about freedom, right? It's all about freedom, and it's all about coming out of the victim state into that inner freedom. So all the things you're providing, when we first met, I was like, oh, she's right on purpose. She's right on purpose. You're doing it. You're out there just living that and providing that for everybody else as well to come and join. And we know that not everybody's ready for that either. But the more seeds that we can drop, I think, and through our own journeys, and that's what I love about the festivals, hearing everybody's journeys from healing themselves, right?
Absolutely. The stories and the journeys, I know exactly. And you always meet the most fascinating people. There's Nikki. See you at the weekend, Nikki. Yes. And, so many friendships for me as well have been formed by doing these festivals, and obviously, and getting into different communities that you would normally never really get a chance to get to know. It's a phenomenal journey. But so let's look at a one-to-one. So, because it's almost the way some people would go to an astrologer, isn't it? It's similar in terms of...
Well, it's similar. It's based on astrology. You're putting your birth date, your time and place of birth into this profile, and you're given a map. I haven't even got one to show you, but you're given your own personal snapshot of the date and time that you were born. And so it's based on tropical astrology. And you know what we humans are like. And now people are arguing about sidereal astrology, evolution astrology, and it's like, whoa, I like it, keeping it to the basics. So it's like a consultation, and it's like a confirmation of where you've come from and where the potentials are for where you're going. And as I said, I looked at yours and it was just like, she's living this. You don't need a reading. But sometimes it's just nice to have that confirmation, isn't it? That you're
absolutely
right on track.
Absolutely. And I think, for me, and I know that we're all the same here, as you learn things that are incredibly helpful and powerful for you, then of course you want to share that with others. And as you said there, some people aren't ready. I mean, when I'm, even the whole letting go thing, you can really piss people off by saying you need to let that go.
I know.
So I am going to hold on to that for another few decades.
I was one of those people, Lily. I was like, don't let go of that. How do you let go anyway? Like my journey with the Al-Anon family program was, like let go and let God. I mean, I didn't even want to hear the word God. Even the fact that I'm saying I've got this membership called the Magical God Temple, just that word, that's why it's an acronym, Gifts of Divinity, because we actually all are these gifts of divinity. And here, some days we're going to have shitty days and other days are, one day's not the same as the next, is it? So, but to have that community around you and say, like, because I'll sometimes get in touch with somebody and they'll say, how are you today? I'm like, no, very good. And, they'll go, oh, right, okay. And it's not coming from that place of being a victim. It's just a feeling. And it's okay. It's okay.
And I think everybody and their granny's exhausted. It's because, everywhere you turn, and collectively, I think people are living in so much fight or flight that, and we affect and infect each other with that. So if collectively people are scared, then you're going to feel it. Of course you are. It doesn't matter how.
And everything's interconnected, isn't it? And with that astrology and stuff, I go down rabbit holes all the time. So, with the gene keys, it allowed me to just dive into I can find anything I need or anything I want within that system,
Yeah, and I think that's really nice because some people use the Bible for that, and some people are using the big book for that, and I think that's what's missing for a lot of us. And remember, the first time I read the 12 step, I was like, why are we not all doing this?
I know, and that was me. It's like you said, you find something you love, you want to share it with everybody. I was trying to drag my friends, my families to Al-Anon. It was like, oh my God, you need to, because it saved me. I was suicidal, and it, the message in there saved my life. The people that I was with helped to save my life because I could actually speak to them about how I was feeling. And there I got to name my feelings. And, but then the gene keys takes me a little bit deeper. I mean, even Bill Wilson did say, you'll need to enlarge in your spiritual life. So because I still was pretty unfulfilled, it could only take me so far to a place of normal living, if you like. And then, that's why I wrote the book. I mean, the book, a lot of people say, that's just a bit of a cover story, that one, Lorna, because, that's not everything's in there, because it's just a bit about my story with it all. So, like, the synchronicities of that book, that 12 steps leading me to the 12 pathways of the gene keys. And it's called the Golden Path. I mean, I've spun round that Golden Path solo, and then I joined community. And that's where I advanced within myself, was joining the community, like Heal Scotland, and that's when you came along.
Yeah, you need the feedback from others. We all do.
Absolutely.
We need to get other people's points of view and angles, and we're like, when I did Theta 1 and 2 with Jennifer down in Cretan, and she was talking about the different dimensions and how the body, what minerals are in each dimension, and then right out to ATP in the seventh dimension, and suddenly I'm like, suddenly more things slot into place because everybody's kind of doing their one wee thing. But when you actually have the kind of 40,000 foot overview of it all, we're all And this is the thing that I know everybody finds frustrating in the spiritual world, is this infighting, and this is wrong and that's dangerous and you're not doing. It's just like, oh my God, give us peace. Everybody's just trying to help. Everybody's doing their best. There's hundreds of different ways to do things, and none of them are right or wrong. They either work for you if you don't, or they don't. And if they don't work for you, you just move on. And not everybody wants to run a marathon. Not everybody wants to, sit in a yoga pose for 2 hours. We're all different, and it doesn't mean to say there's anything wrong with any of the practices. It's just finding the ones that work for you. And certainly I found over the years that that's changed. I'm like, okay, I've got what I needed from that, and then I move on to the next one. And, I think, and anything like that you can learn, or you have a structure. And like you were saying, you've got that book to go to. Because I remember one morning I was swimming and a seal came in, and then you sent me the message about what that meant. I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's really interesting.
But that's what I mean, because it just brings that interconnectedness together for me, the Gene Keys do, because it's got the dream arc in there as well, which brings in the animals. So there's a big shamanic part of that as well, because the insects and the little beasties, they refer to the shadows. They've got a message, but then again, that's where the seed of the divine gift lives within there. So there's this journey that you can take with the animals as well. And then you've got the land animals, are your life keys. So it's like the middle world in the shamanic world, and then you've got the divine gifts are the birds. So they're the vision keys. It's fantastic.
There's another girl coming to the festival. Wait till I tell you who's. She's an animal psychic. Where is it now? And I'll just read it to you.
Oh, cool.
Where did I see it now? Yeah, Heather. Her name's Heather Ogilvie. She went from working at the top end of Scottish business to training herself in animal telepathy after a life-changing experience with her own dog. It explores the turning points, the doubts, and the moments that led her to question how communication, intelligence, and the body really works. So she's coming to Tarbert. So that's what's
let's hope I'm not clashing with her then.
I know, that's what always
happens. That can happen, can't it?
Look at her name's Heather Ogilvie, so you can have a look and make sure that you get along to that.
Yeah.
And I mean, for me, it's like when you see the body as this kind of energy and these waves and frequencies, which we know now, really, that's what we are. Everything has a frequency, our organs, our thoughts, our feelings, and obviously our destiny. And I think maybe, there's been so much focus on the shadow, the inner work, and the inner child that drives me nuts. You're just like, I'm going to get the inner adult out now. But, we all know that we have got these, we have got our darker sides. This is where the suffering resides. But also, we don't really talk enough about our gifts. What are our gifts? And, Vida talks a lot about this at Family Constellation, when you say, regardless of how horrific, and I was very blessed with my parents, but I know that's not everybody's narrative, but they still gave you life. So you're here because of them. So it's thank you for my life. And here I'm giving you back all the crap that you gave me. But also what you gave me was resilience, and I mean, all that growing often comes through pain. I think still that's the situation. That's where you really learn so much is through that, the pain. So, but what gifts? Why are we not focusing on all the incredible gifts that we've got?
Well, that's why I wanted to. I mean, you were talking about when we were at Cretan about Carolyn Miss, and and she does. She's like the support groups of. I mean, I will be forever grateful. It's like my foundation was that 12 steps, but I had to move on because we evolve and life moves on, and we like all these new technologies and everything that we're discovering for health. And, I am the technology myself, and I know I've healed myself because I came to that place of just wanting to die because I, kept running to doctors and being offered opiates and more pills for health issues and for my mental issues as well. I mean, I was really mentally off the scale completely. So bringing myself back from that, after a serious car accident, body was broken, and then ending up doing these running a marathon, doing all these things, when if I had stayed in that place of victim, I would have believed that I wouldn't be doing that. And I mean, there's 9 million people in this planet, in this country alone just now on benefits, and a lot of them believing that they're entitled to that because they're not well. And there's a lot of them I do know, and I'm going, but you can get well. You can. Do you want to get well? But if you're getting money for sitting at home doing nothing, well, that's up to you. But I've got a different way that I would love to guide people with, and I've stopped actually trying to convince anybody of that anymore, because there's no point.
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I think, having lived with 9 sick people for 3 months, I kind of changed how I saw it a little bit, because I just thought, what have we done that it's actually so difficult to live in this world? And that actually being sick is easier. And I know there's a lot of people that absolutely cannot help it. And my daughter's
absolutely,
it's, and also I think when you're that unwell, it's impossible to imagine yourself being well enough to hold down a full-time job. And one of the problems right now is, that you can feel better, and then if you go back to work, then you've got to go through that whole 6 months. If you dip again, the whole system. It's a
system that we've created.
I know. The whole thing
we're all a part of it, I guess.
And really, that's why I'm really excited about the biotherapies. Just giving people enough energy to feel like you can make better, like you've got a hope. Because if you're down here in apathy, and you and me are up here going, "Come on, you can do this," it's just,
I know.
It's just 2 completely different vibrational states, and you can't see out these glasses. You can't see the hope, and that's what we really need to do, is just bring, but just the way we're all living.
That's why telling our stories of how we came through all that ourselves, I think, is what people will resonate more with, and they might
absolutely,
even if they're dipping their toe in, there's a seed being planted. And like my daughter says to me, "Oh my God, you talk about all this stuff like it's all facts," and it's not. And that was a bit of an eye opener for me, because I'm like, yeah, of course, I forget that really where I've come from, because I've moved so far on, and then I forget that there's people that aren't there yet, and I can't drag them kicking and screaming, because I went kicking and screaming myself, but it's just like, I know that there's something better, and it's just like,
I know. And it's funny, because one of the girls I was talking to at the festival, she was saying, "Oh, it'd be so good for this person. And I was like, I know, that's what we always feel, because you're kind of like, why are you not coming to this? You're going to feel so much better. You're going to have so much fun. But you can take the horse to water. It's that whole thing. But we just need to keep planting the seeds. And I think, the festivals are a really kind of non-invasive way. You can just come along and do what you feel you need. And, especially in Tarbert, where you can have a pod there, and you can just go, you can do a class and go to your bed, do another class and go back and chill out. There's no pressure really, because you can definitely see, like, we thought moving the Cayley to 5:30 would mean that people would stay, and then there's just this mass exodus. And I was kind of like, oh no! And then obviously,
anyway, we enjoyed it though.
We had a great time. But, it does make me think, like, is it people don't enjoy Cayleys, or is it just that the idea of the energy because it takes a lot of energy? I mean,
I know, I was wondering if it would be better on the Friday night, maybe just as an arrival. I don't know, because, and then they get into all this.
Arrive on the Friday night, so that's why, anyway. We'll keep having the conversation. But I mean, and we, Margaret, from Swap for Joy, she was saying, I didn't realise how unfit I was. And I was like, interestingly enough, because we've been doing a few over the years, I feel that I'm already much fitter to do it, and all these lateral movements. That's why I love it so much. It's so good for your brain. It's so much fun. Because, I mean, these guys, the Strathmore band, they were brilliant. Taught us a couple of dances I'd never done before, which is always
me too.
So that was really nice as well, to learn a couple of new ones. So we need to bring them out. I'd said to Sticia's DJing on Saturday night in Tarbert. I said, can you put in a couple of Kaylee tunes? We'll not have a Kaylee per se, but we can just put a couple of tunes in, and we can have the laughs.
We'll go for it.
So tell me, so do you kind of prepare the Gene Keys before you go to the festival then?
The only sort of preparing I do is, because I don't want to get stuck in my head with it, and I find that when I do that, it doesn't go to plan. And I can't make a plan. So the only plans I make is I do a chart. I make a chart for a collective healing, basically. So it's like a shamanic healing journey. So that then when I do my little spiel, you know me, I won't get in about doing the breathing and banging the drum, and that's what I prefer to do, to give people an experience from themselves. And I feel like last, even at Stonehaven, I thought I sort of overplanned that, and I ended up talking too much, and the music was too loud, and it's like there's always something that you can refine anyway at the end of it. Everybody seemed to be quite happy, but I wasn't, of course. And then but it's fine, you know, it doesn't matter. It's just like
I mean, I think it's human to kind of go, right, I could have done that a wee bit better, I could have done that. But the reality is it was perfect the way it was. You know, that's just the
right people turned up,
mind, isn't it? Coming in. So that's great. Well, I'm really glad that we've got Tarbert coming up so quickly, because I kind of feel that I really need my own festivals to stay sane in this crazy world. So listen, thanks so much for your time, and
thank you.
I will see you in Tarbert.
I'll see you in Tarbert. Lots of love, and hope to see everybody else there too.
Right. Cheers.
Bye. Bye.